Hi, and welcome to What's New in Jenkins LTS. Today we're going to be talking about a brand new LTS line that's 2.387.1, and along with me today is Mark Waite. But before I get to Mark, my name is Darren Pope, because I forgot to introduce myself because that's just what you do. Mark, how are you doing?
Hi, Darren. I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. We are at a brand new line.
We are.
Can you believe it? Now, let's talk about the next line that comes up, because it hasn't been picked yet, but it's going to be close to being crossing over another century. So it could be. It could happen.
Good point. Could be. The next one could be talking about 2.400, couldn't it?
It's possible. But that's not why we're here today. It's 387. 387. Wow. Doesn't seem possible. 387 weeks of the 2X line.
That's correct.
Somebody wants to do the math, that's 6+ years.
It is.
Amazing. Amazing. So today, before we actually get started, we have something to show you. I think this is where I want to start. I was debating. Are you okay with this if we do this first?
I am. Let's do it first.
So this week, a company named Firefly posted a list of what if DevOps tools looked like humans. You need to just go look it up. Go look for Go Firefly. You'll find this, or just look for the title, What If DevOps Tools Look Like Humans? We're not going to go through all these, but obviously you know where we're headed. Linux. That looks pretty reasonable. Looks nothing like Linus, but...
Well, I don't know. Kind of looks like Linus, but okay.
We'll go with that. Python. Okay, cool. He's got a little necktie. Looks like a snake. All right. He's got a little bit of snake skin on his shoulders. Okay, cool. Postgres. Actually, one of my favorites. This is actually one of my favorites out of all.
Wildly cool tool. Wildly cool tool and bold in all sorts of ways.
But now, look, I love our little animated characters for Jenkins. This guy, I would have to vote for him.
He looks sort of bad to the bone to me. He looks really quite impressive.
So, by the way, this is Jenkins, in case you missed it. And there's a bunch of others here if you want to take a look. I thought the AWS one was pretty funny. It was just, let me go back up to the top because there was one other I wanted to call out. Oh, it was, I'm going to go fast just to find it. And a lot of these people are friends of the community, if you will. But there was one, the Docker one I thought was pretty cool, just containers.
Yeah.
Terraform was cool. The Kubernetes one, that guy, I don't know. He could probably take out Jenkins in a fight. I think it's possible. Vault. I thought this one looked super cool. Just sort of the, what is this style? I'm drawing a blank.
I think steampunk. When I look at that, I think steampunk, right?
That's the one I was looking for.
That looks very steampunk to me.
OPA was pretty good. Open telemetry, we have a lot of friends. What's interesting about the OPA one, though, makes me feel very scared because these goggles are right on his head. Right. But I lost the other one. But anyway, coming back to the one that we really care about, Jenkins.
Yeah, well, and thanks. And what a great picture that is. That's charming.
So let's just go ahead and jump right into it today. Actually, normally you talk about what the process is for Jenkins, and we should go ahead and start with that because in case people are new to Jenkins and they don't really understand this whole release process, number one, Jenkins has a weekly release, typically on Tuesdays. And then roughly everyone will get into I'll let you finish it up, but weeklies are different than
long-term support. Right.
Right. So what is LTS?
Right. So Jenkins long-term support releases are selected from a weekly baseline. The weekly baseline is allowed to sit for a little bit while we collect up potential backports, and then we add a .1 suffix to the end of that weekly baseline. So 2.375 weekly becomes 2.375.1 LTS, and we backport things to it that might need to be fixed that we've learned since that weekly release. We release that. That becomes a point in time. And then 4 weeks later, we release a .2. 4 weeks later, we release a .3. And that's pretty much it. 3 months on a single baseline that we use as nice stable things. And each of those baselines, each baseline is selected, carefully selected by the community based on ratings to decide something that we're ready to support for that 3-month period. LTS releases get security fixes just like weekly releases do, and we encourage users to choose either weekly or LTS.
So it's interesting that you say every 3 months, and we were only showing a .3.
Right.
We'll get to there in just a second. Sebastian, you are quite welcome. We enjoy doing these. It gets us out of the office for about 30 minutes to an hour. So, that's what it is. This is an interesting point. Time for Jenkins 3 soon. We'll leave that there. And I will say for Andreas, JMM, Jean-Marc, would have been great for the Kubernetes one. It sort of looked like it.
Okay.
We'll stay there for, we'll let that go. Okay. Let's get into this because we actually have a little bit more to talk about than just the 387.1 LTS.
We do.
So if we were to take, and again, one more side step here before we get, and we'll talk more about this at the end, the Jenkins Community Awards, just in case you don't stay till the end today and you want to watch it later, remember this. Contributor awards are now open through March 28th. And secondly, in case you didn't know, Jenkins has been accepted into GSOC. Depending on time, we'll talk more about those later. But remember community awards. Community awards voting up until March 28th. Now let's go to download. So normally, 387.1 is what we would expect. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. But this time we also had a security release yesterday as well.
Right.
For the 375 line.
And that's a fun story to tell. So the security team is really quite serious about preserving Jenkins users' compatibility, making sure that they can get a security fix and be safe with it. So Wednesday, when they released the security fix, they said we need to release it in weekly. 2.394 includes the security fixes. We need it in the LTS, and the current LTS would be 2.387.1. So they said, we got to put it in 2.387.1. But because they were putting it in a .1, they also said, hey, we don't want to risk that somebody who needs security fixes is forced to upgrade to 387.1 and surprised. So they also did 2.375.4, that is 2.375.3 plus security fixes.
Correct. Do you want to go in to take a look at this security advisory today?
I think we should. This is a really good thing to discuss. And this security advisory is quite distinctive for me. It's distinctive because of some of the components that were touched.
Right. And because the most recent security advisories that we've had over the past good number of months, or the last few, really have been around plugins.
Right. And that's much more common, right? It's much more common for plugins have a rather different attack surface and different focus, and therefore it's much more common that plugins are the focus. This one is Jenkins Core and the Update Center.
We could talk for a whole hour about the Update Center.
Yeah?
We're not going to today. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just that's a piece of infrastructure that doesn't get talked about a lot, but without the Update Center, would Jenkins exist?
Well, certainly the Update Center makes Jenkins users' lives much, much better, right? That's how we deliver the notice of availability of new plugins. That's how we deliver the notice about availability of security advisories. That's how we deliver the notice of deprecation of plugins, of suspension of plugins. They're all delivered through the Jenkins Update Center.
So, this one, there are no plugin changes, or none. No plugins related with this security advisory.
No plugin changes described in this security advisory at all.
Okay. So cross-site scripting vulnerability. Okay, that's a high. Take it seriously.
Right, but in the plugin manager, and okay, how do you get data into the plugin manager? Well, you get data into the plugin manager through the Update Center.
Okay. And then, again, something related to plugin manager.
Yeah, and this one is, again, most of us don't allow common users to log into our Jenkins controller computer at all. But if you do, then the fact that there's a shared temporary folder, this one could have been a concern. Therefore, it's been resolved.
There is a workaround for this one, which is one I always recommend anyway. You can change the location of java.io.tempter.
Right.
And in my opinion, unless you're running in a container, which, okay, that's a different set of mess to deal with. But if you're running it on metal in some way, shape, or form, always set this. Because some OSs, you may get, how should I say, weird things happening.
Right.
If you just use the native tempter that's for that OS.
Sure,
so
certainly.
I like setting mine.
And I think that makes sense. In particular, there are operating systems there have been operating systems in the past that will offer a RAM-based file system in TempFS, in the temporary file system. That's a very fast file system, but it's also very limited capacity. And if Jenkins drops a very large file into it, you could have problems. So setting your own temporary directory is a good idea. It lets you dodge a number of potential risks from a shared temporary directory immediately.
Yep. Denial of service on file upload, which I'm assuming this was back to, was this just in general?
This is in general. Certainly it applies to plugin upload as well, but just in general, there was a problem in this particular library. The library's been upgraded to fix it.
Temporary directories, this is not related to the tempter that we just talked about.
That's correct.
This is just different. Temporary file parameter. Again, this one is related back to tempter.
Right.
And then we start getting down in information disclosure. Okay, that's low. But then we get into Update Center. Now, can you remember the last time anything happened with Update Center?
In terms of a security vulnerability, I don't know that there's ever been one. I don't remember one. It's been that long ago that I don't remember one.
So this was a cross-site scripting vulnerability. And again, it ties back to the first one that we saw.
Right.
So, this one feeds that one, if you will. So, most people actually don't run an Update Center.
No, and they really should not, right? It
Yeah.
is a fairly exotic configuration. If you're a large corporation and you say, I want to maintain my own approved set of plugins, you might choose to run your own Update Center. But there is a level of difficulty in doing that most Jenkins users do not and should not want to do.
I'm going to live on the edge for just a second.
Okay?
You think it's hard to run a Jenkins controller itself? Try running an Update Center for
Right.
the Jenkins controller.
And the Update Center code notes that. It says, look, the Update Center is focused on Jenkins infrastructure use. It can be used by others, but that is not its primary purpose. And the maintainers of the Update Center are very careful that they make sure that its primary focus is retained. It focuses on meeting Jenkins infrastructure needs. And it's got a large responsibility for Jenkins infrastructure. 300,000 controllers are asking it questions, each of them on average every 24 to 48 hours. It's got to answer a bunch of questions.
So I'll just say thanks to everybody that found everything and reported it correctly and politely, if you will. There's actually a proper way to say that security-wise. I can't remember what it is.
They followed responsible disclosure policies.
Thank you. That's it. So thank you for everybody for doing that. So let's move off the advisory. So the advisory applies to both 2.375.4. So if you were already on the 375 line and you don't want to go to 387 yet, you should get to .4. This is a big deal. Anytime there's a security advisory where Jenkins Core is involved, be judicious and move as quickly as you possibly can.
Correct. Yeah, that's security vulnerabilities matter deeply. The Jenkins security team cares deeply about them, and they publish them to help defend the users. Yeah,
Correct.
Upgrade promptly.
Now, I want to ask a question, because I would have expected nothing else in .4, but we had this. Was this a bug in the output, or was this actually part of .4? limiting the max number of search results?
I don't know. I'll have to look at.
Okay.
I'll actually have to check that, because if you were to scroll further down to the previous, you don't need to do it, Darren. But if you were to look at previous ones, that you would see that it's typical in a Jenkins core security release that there's exactly one bullet, important security fixes, and that's it. So it may be that we've made a mistake in the creation of the changelog.
Documentation. And that's fine. I was just, and of course I call out here with everybody watching it live. So by the time if you're watching the replay on this, that line may no longer be there. It's just because, okay, it was a documentation. Look, documentation, I'd rather be overstating something in documentation than understating.
Correct.
Especially when it comes to a changelog. It's like, oh wait, I need to pull that out. Okay, no big deal. All right, so let's get into what we really wanted to talk about today, which is 387.1. Now, again, here's our important security fixes. And now these are the backports since 387. So all of these 6-7 items here all happened since 387 came out.
Right.
And the reason why I asked the question below is, okay, here's that limit number of max.
Which probably indicates that's a real change. Unfortunately, I can't tell the story of that real change, so I'll have to go read more.
So let's go and talk about all these little backports. Well, we don't have to talk about them, but let's just high level. To me, it seems like a bunch of these are, well, the front half is all related to agents.
Right.
A little bit of security changes here.
Mm-hmm.
And then just some housekeeping. And then a bump. Right.
Well,
that should be there, which was probably security related, or is security related as well.
Sort of, yeah. So the top three really are agents. You're absolutely right. And WebSocket agents are becoming increasingly important in installations, right? People like the fact that they don't have to open a secondary port on their Jenkins controller, particularly things like Kubernetes, where opening a secondary port is just a pain, right? Life's better if you just, everything goes in through the HTTPS port. Life's just better. So that's a good one. And then items 4 and 6 are really updates that bring current best versions of plugins into Jenkins core. Item 6 was one we did just because some security scanners would whine about this particular plugin. The issue that's listed there absolutely does not affect Jenkins, but it's far easier for us to update it than it is to explain to people that it's not a relevant report.
There's another whole hour we could talk right there on that one subject.
Yeah, and what do you say, right? Security is hard work.
It is. So let's get into the before and after.
Mm-hmm.
So here is the real core since 375.
Right.
Lots of UI changes. Can I say beyond a lot of UI changes?
Yes, a lot of UI changes, and delightful to see that Jenkins continues to progress, right? Special thanks to Tim Jacomb, to Jan Farachik, to Daniel Beck for his work on it, to others like Tim Brown, who's done work on Pipeline Graph Viewer. So the work of really talented people has gone into this, and it's fun to see.
These are good UI people.
Very good. Very good.
Look, I know how to open a head tag and close a head tag. That's about it.
Me too. Yep.
Not my jam. Missing breadcrumbs. Thank you. Thank you.
And very nice, right? Very, very nice. That one's an Hervé Lemur and others who did those. And again, it's, oh, you know what? That helps. And it helps in all the right places. It still retains the design vision that Jan and Tim and others had, but gives those of us who liked our breadcrumbs clickable back that capability.
Thank you. Wow. This was actually a big one, but it took a while, right?
That's a fun story, right? Because Antler is a parser generator. It's a parser. Yeah, it's a parser generator. And so it was used to construct, among other things, the generator, the scanner that reads our cron syntax. Now, cron syntax in Jenkins is a crucial, important part of how the thing works. And this particular grammar was written with a tool that was, 10 plus years old? And the change we were worried about was quite significant. So we were really pleased with this change. Users won't see much of a difference because the grammar is correct. But thanks to Alex Earl, thanks to Basil Crow, this upgrade has been done, and we're using a modern version of the parser generator.
Update for Spring Security, no big deal. Again, CVE related,
Right.
that probably wouldn't have hit.
It is far simpler for us to upgrade to current dependencies than it is to explain to people why we're not affected by those CVEs.
Okay. You need to put that on autoplay. I need a button for that.
Well,
just to
and
play that.
And that's the same approach. There are certain operating systems that take that approach where they say, look, it is just cheaper for us to be sure that this thing is fixed than it is to explain why we didn't bother to fix it.
Default file rotation to 10 meg, great. Interesting here. Another UI change. Moving to Tippy, of all things.
Right. Well, and that's one where we've got some legacy components in the Jenkins UI.
Wait.
I know. You're
There's
shocked.
legacy components
You're
in Jenkins
astonished
UI?
to think that there are old components in there. But yes, trust me, there are old components in there. And this is one of many steps toward removing one or more of those legacy components. Now, we are grateful that we don't have to show a lot of change to users. They still get tooltips. And the tooltips still are very well behaved in modern web browsers. And we still don't support Internet Explorer.
And that's a wonderful thing because nobody else does either.
Exactly. So this is part of the ongoing modernization of core libraries in Jenkins that, again, we're very grateful. The folks doing UI work are doing great things.
A couple of items here that are, again, related back to agents. I put remoting. Remoting is all about agents.
It is, correct.
If you didn't have an agent, you wouldn't need remoting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So added some new telemetry, just in case
Right.
you're wondering what's being reported. You can look into that detail. Also for permissions that are not enabled by default, just trying to help the community out. It's like, okay, are people using this, not using this? Just
Right, and the telemetry gathering process is there's a general purpose telemetry gathering that happens in Jenkins that we do all the time, asking about reporting back which plugin versions you're using and which Jenkins version you're using. And plugin maintainers like Darren and I use that information to decide which version of Jenkins we should use as our minimum. So we like that telemetry, but these two telemetry items are special purpose short-term collections of additional information that will actually end, I believe the collection ends for this one at end of March.
Yeah, the distributed build I think was March, and this one was this one also March?
I
didn't look at
that
this
one I don't remember. I haven't
Yeah.
done the research on it.
This one.
Oh, I like this one.
About darn time.
Oh, Darren, shame on you. This was a helpful message, but we had an awful lot of users who were confused about it. So come on, you need to tell the story, Darren, about this one. Tell what was going on and why.
It was a lot of noise that I didn't need to know anything about. Is the story.
Oh, I'm sorry. I disagree. Okay. So now...
So it's just, okay, you're offering me a plugin, but it's not compatible, so you can't do anything with it. And blah, so, well, okay, what good is that?
Right. So I think the original concept here was that users should know that a version of a plugin is available,
Good.
but not available to them because they have an outdated Jenkins version. But the problem was users were perplexed by that message, completely perplexed by it, because it just was not clear to them.
Yeah.
Why do you show it to me if I can't have
have
it? And the answer is we were showing it to you because you could have it if you upgraded Jenkins. But the reality is people
I don't
choose
want
to
to upgrade
upgrade.
Jenkins.
Right. People choose to upgrade Jenkins on their own, right? And they don't do it for a single plugin. They do it because they have other motivations.
Correct. So now you only get offered what you're allowed to
Correct.
to use. Now, I wish there was a way to get somewhere in between both. It's like, here's what's available to you, but there's like, hey, look, there's something you really need to you need to think about this because X, right?
Okay.
So there's got to be something in the middle because the other was useless, in my opinion. Now we're back to happy state, but I still need to know, because if it's security related or performance related or something else.
But security related you'll get, right?
That's
Because
true. That's true.
security related topics, if a security fix is available for a plugin,
Yeah, that's
and even if you can't install it because, sorry, you don't have a new enough Jenkins version, you'll get notified that there's a
That's true.
security issue.
That's true. Show recommended actions and security warnings pop up.
Right.
Sweet. Again, finally, no longer bundles a patched version of a deprecated.
Right. Notice those key points there, patched and deprecated, and this is part of modernization. Thanks to Basil Crow and to others for their work on this one, because we really need to get rid of it. Now the reality is there are still some plugins that are dependent on that, and we can't and don't update all of them. But we have noted to people, look, this is what's got to happen.
Yep. Just use the native. It's amazing that people still don't. How old is Java 11? 2017, I think.
Yeah, but I got to admit, Java 11 HTTP client is kind of a cool thing. But prior to Java 11, Java 8 didn't have that good of an HTTP client, right? So
it was bad.
So Apache HTTP client was where we learned and where we did it. And
Yeah.
admittedly, I've enjoyed the switch to Java 11's HTTP client. It's got a nice programming model. I really like it, but it wasn't there for Java 8.
But people also still don't know about it.
Right.
That
That's
was my
correct.
point. Is it's been 6 years since Java 11's been out,
Right.
roughly, and they still don't know about this. And they're talking about what we're going to do in 21. It's like, look,
Right.
learn 11 first. Learn
Yep.
the basics of this. Thank you for removing the deprecated multi-job. Same thing with the WMI Windows Agents plugin, because again, not needed. And again, related to that, let's see, where are we at here?
So
We'll come back to the questions that are piling up in the chat, so we will get to
Okay.
those. So don't forget about that.
All right.
Don't allow me to forget about it. This one I thought was interesting because I had not caught this one. Avoiding unnecessary configuration saves when reloading. Do you know what was happening with this? It sounds like when it was reloading, it was still saving.
well, and for me, this one's talking all sorts of danger zone, right? If you're picking reload configuration from disk, I think you're already doing
On the
something
edge.
makes me very uncomfortable. So
On a
yeah,
production system. On a production system.
correct on a product. Yeah, if it's a toy system, don't care. But
Correct, yeah.
production environments, reloading configuration from disk is asking for surprises,
I like how you said that. Not trouble, but surprises.
right?
Build number collisions, that's always a problem.
Right.
It's not always a problem, but when it happens, it's like, what?
You definitely don't want them.
Moving support for log rotation via Sigil arm. Daemon's been removed.
Okay, and this is a fun legacy, right? Because long ago, when we used System 5 init, we could ask for log rotation by using a signal on Linux
Yep.
machines. And there are all sorts of dirty things that go along with using signals, and it's
Really?
not especially
No.
healthy to use a signal system. So this is, again,
I mean,
good cleanup.
-9, right? That's standard. You just do it -9.
That's a very bold signal, yes. Kill -9 is a very bold signal.
I honestly forgot all the others because I just got tired of trying to remember. I just used -9. Just
Right.
Do it now. I'm assuming this tooltip performance might be related back to Tippy coming in. Do you
I
know?
think so, but I don't remember
Okay.
the details.
Update of disabled plugins. Actually, I thought there was another thing about disabled. Oh, it is. It's right down here.
Right.
Well, I'll come back to it. So delete disabled files when uninstalling a plugin.
Right. So that if you were to reinstall, it doesn't come in reinstalled and disabled.
Right. A couple of agent items as well here. Nothing real surprising.
Right.
Race conditions, always a great thing to fix.
Always. Yep.
The most annoying things. Xstream, thankful that we no longer run a forked version of Xstream. So we can just easily upgrade. Just say,
Yes.
boop.
Yep.
And again, I'm guessing this was another one of just do it and
Correct.
ignore it.
It is much easier for us to update. Well, and it's generally healthy, right? It's just
Yeah.
wise to stay current with
Why
the
not?
vendor, the vendor provided, the upstream provided library, and so we do.
But it was interesting that they called out, now we also have converters for optional and atomic.
Yeah, and that one's a fun one because optional and atomic previously had some ugly workarounds inside Jenkins code. And so if you needed to do those, it's now actually available instead of having to do ugly workarounds in your code. Now, I like Basil's recommendation on this one. He recommends don't use those. Don't stream those to permanent storage.
Not a generally good idea. Okay. So far, we didn't actually look at the health. 28, happy, 3 are, and 3 like, uh-oh.
Yep, but no bug report listed on I had to roll back. Interesting. Okay.
Is there? Oh, that's right, because I'm hovering and there's nothing there. So, okay. Let's look at the upgrade guide because usually, 99% of the time, okay, I'm making up numbers now, which is always true 100% of the time. And the upgrade guide, there's usually something in a .1.
And this one
High
is no
probability.
exception. This
Yes.
one is no exception. You must read and heed the upgrade guide.
Going back to one of the points, daemon's been removed.
Right.
Look, if you've upgraded, but you haven't moved to System D yet, do that.
Well,
Just
yeah,
do it.
and that's a very dangerous choice. If you're upgrading and haven't switched to System D, that may mean you're doing your upgrade wrong. So by all means, be sure you're using System D so that you get all the features that are available in Jenkins for support of System D.
And I've probably covered every operating system that's current, showing different install methods. And if not,
Right.
there's a few more coming out. So just to let you know. The default size rotation, you can disable it if you need to pull the hatch.
Right.
Boy, that would be scary if you had to. If you have to disable this, reach out to the community and post a question there of stating why you're having to disable that, because that feels more like a smell to me
Right.
than something that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Just
So
whatever reason.
if we're overrunning your logs because they're just so enormous, there could be all sorts of flaws that might motivate you there. And any one of those, by all means, raise a question in the community.
And this one, if you're running connection from controller to agent, you're probably not even going to care because it's always being automatically updated via SSH if you're
Right.
connected. But if you've got inbounds that you haven't updated in a few years, this is probably where you're going to get bit. Now, if you haven't installed one of our favorite plugins called Version Node Monitor,
Correct.
its short name is called Version Column altogether, version C if you search for it. It will show you the version of Java that's running on your controllers and your agents, and it will also show you the remoting version. In a perfect world, all those match across your whole farm. Just
Right,
saying.
and if you're not in a perfect world, we
At least you know
really
that.
like them close, right? And it shows you the status. But this one for me, I would hope that no one is running remoting versions that are old enough to trigger this problem.
Yeah.
But that hope is almost always proven wrong by somebody. They're surprised by, oh, wow, yeah, I haven't upgraded that thing out on the edge for a very long time. And I don't have a process in place to upgrade it. If you encounter this is a great excuse to find a way to get yourself a process that will upgrade that thing every time you start it. Because it's actually pretty easy to upgrade when you start.
Yeah. From a Linux perspective, just go search for it on the internet. I found some scripts out there that will just do it when you start the agent process. If you're on Windows, it's a little more challenging, but it's not impossible to do.
Actually, and now in the, I think it's the
Oh,
recent
that's right.
weeklies, I put in help even for Windows users. It's curl.exe, blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. And by all means.
Well, you're assuming that people are still using a version of Windows that can support curl.
Yes, that's true. I am making that assumption. That's true.
Let's take a look and do a quick A/B on a couple of things.
Yeah.
So I've got 375.4, which is the most recent line of 375 because of the security fix, and we also have 387.1.
Right?
Now, if you pay attention, you'll see a little bit of a jump. Ignore the jump up top because that's the security warning, right? So you see a little bit of, nothing major. One of the things, looking at the original one, if I defined an agent and I'd set up a description. Of course, I've timed out since I've last did this. If I look at an agent and I put in cool little HTML tags, it would just render them out. But in 387.1, of course, this is going to be timed out too. Now, it renders just like you would expect a system message to happen on the controller.
Right. And now
It's not a big deal, but it's a quality of life thing.
And shameless plug for the Markdown formatter plugin, because this you wrote in HTML, but I do mine in Markdown. Because I've enabled the Markdown formatter plugin, and the Markdown formatter plugin lets me write Markdown there. Get the same result. Very nice.
You're such a nerd.
Oh no! Wait a second.
Actually,
you
but I don't have the right plugin installed.
Right. You don't have it installed. Then it's not installed by default. So
yeah.
But go back to Manage Plugins, or the Manage Jenkins page, because there's already something hiding here that's coming more broadly. So compare the two pages here. So go back to to Manage Jenkins. Okay, notice you see the red circled one on Manage Plugins, right?
Yep. Let me go back to top.
Go back to the other one. Notice the difference in color. Okay, say, hey, that's not a big deal. What that hints, though, is what they've done is they've allowed these top-level Manage Jenkins things to have badges on them, and the one is now a badge. So guess what that means? There will be some information coming maybe on things like credentials or on configure system, things that might hint to you, I should go look at this further, because that badge now can appear in other places, whereas previously Manage Jenkins was really the only thing that had it.
So what you're telling me, Mark, is we need some stinking badges.
Yes, thank you, Darren. Yes.
I can't remember the movie, and that was the opposite of what the movie said.
Yes.
One more thing here. Let's go to Manage Plugins. That really hasn't changed much, I don't think. I think that's still effectively the same. Actually, no, there is a little bit of change. Notice that. Do you see the difference? Mark, do you see the difference?
I'm not sure I do see the difference. What difference should I be seeing?
Well, we have the teal download button, and now we have the blue rounded things.
Oh, right. Got it. Yep.
Plus, we see a little bit of a difference in the table-ish. It's not a table. The div layout, if you will, because tables are no longer... Actually, is this still a table? I don't remember.
I
don't remember.
I trust that the experts who know how to do layout do it real well.
Yep. What was the other thing that we wanted to call out here? I think... Was this the first time that configure global security changed?
Go to system information.
Oh yeah, system information. Huh. I have a bone to pick with you on that.
Oh, good. Well, let's show system information. We can have that conversation.
System information.
375.
Everything's there.
Everything's there, and it's a big, long, linear list. Yep. Scroll down, you'll see multiple things inside that system information. So it's got all sorts of stuff in there.
Yep. So we got system properties, we've got
environment variables,
we've got
plugins.
We got the stuff.
Exactly.
But now,
system information.
I got tabs.
Right. So
or pills. Depending on how you say it.
5 tabs, five things across the top to let you see which one is which. And sensitive information is hidden by default. Potentially sensitive information is hidden by default.
Thank you. Potentially sensitive information.
Right.
I'm okay with this being there. I don't know I need it all there. But that's me.
Yeah, you don't know what?
I don't know that I need it all to be
hidden. I agree. This feels a little... This is certainly more careful than I am about what's shown on my screen, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like for me, okay, I'm going off the deep end here a minute, but system properties really don't care.
Right.
Environment variables, I care.
And that's an interesting distinction, right? Because you probably don't pass sensitive information through system properties, whereas other people may choose to pass sensitive information through system properties.
Right. Plugin versions, oh good, those aren't hidden. I hadn't looked at that.
Yeah, no need to hide those.
Now, I did like having memory usage and thread dumps right here.
Right. Well, and notice that memory usage is is I like the time span drop down. It's just better than the links that were there before.
Yeah. What else? And we will still come back to questions, so don't leave us. We will answer the
Oh,
questions.
the advanced buttons. Come on, we got to show the advanced button. So
Which
define a
advanced button?
job. Define a
Oh,
job.
that job.
Yeah.
Right here. So let's go back here. So we'll go back here. Pipeline, right?
Job. Yeah. Pipeline, freestyle. Any of them is fine.
All of them are fine. Okay. Pipeline. Okay. And click.
Yeah. So scroll
What's that
down, and we should find a. Let's see if so. Save. Do the sample pipeline. I think we can get
Okay.
and now do a configure. I think we can find something. Yes. Notice that advanced button. It says advanced and 3 dots. Right.
Right.
Now click it. Click before we leave. Click that. Okay. Notice what happened. The advanced button is gone
Yes.
and replaced. If you want to hide that information again, you have to exit out of this form and
Right.
come back.
Right. You have to do all of that.
Right. Exactly.
Fine. So, let's come back over here. Do the same thing. Whoops. Can't type today. New word. Pipeline. Again, blue button.
Right.
Right. No
Big,
longer
visible, consistently colored blue button. Yep.
correct. And we'll go down here, and now advanced. I don't actually have to save it. I can
Save.
expose it.
Okay. And hide. Expose it. Now with one single thing in there, no big deal. When you look at a job that's got the Git plugin installed or something like that, or a large freestyle project with many plugins installed, that advanced thing can be substantial. So I like expanding and contracting.
Cool. I actually hadn't seen that specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's advanced. Was that the last biggish UI thing?
That's the
there's
last
there's
one
lots of little ones, like
Right.
tooltips, right?
Right.
Yeah, the tooltips are going to be basically what we had seen all, actually here, let's just do trigger builds. So helpful feature, let's see if I can get roughly where I'm at the same. So GitHub at the top,
Okay.
Git, well, that's interesting. I'll put build triggers at the top, just so I can see it. There we go. Oh, I'm in the wrong place, that's fine. Now I'll do trigger builds. So if I take a look at trigger builds on the old, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
If I look at trigger builds on this one,
Yeah.
in this case it happens to be going, it's bolder, it's got, whatever it is, right? It's a minor thing. But
And it's using a modern component. The
Correct.
big deal for me is it's using a modern component.
right. Okay. Do you answer some questions? I think we've gone
Yeah.
through everything. So we went through all the change logs, which is a
Yep.
question about change log we'll look at in a minute. We went through the upgrade notes. We looked at 375.4. We looked at 387.1.
Right.
We looked at a couple of the changes that were in.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about the security fixes. Yep.
Yeah. There was a lot of things under the hood this time. Even though
There were.
UI, even though it looks like, and yes, there were a lot of modernization from a UI perspective, there's just going to be things that, like what we just saw with the tooltips. They're not going to be jumping out at you, or that teal button turned into a blue button and a little more rounded. Just a little small quality of life type deal that we're seeing here. Let's answer questions. Let's do that for a minute, and then we'll finish up, because we're getting close to the bottom of the hour.
Right.
Let's answer this. Let's see if we have from Amet. Jenkins is not picking up the Chrome driver in UI testing. How to pass the path for Chrome driver?
Okay, so I'm gonna make some inferences here, Darren. I'm gonna
Yep.
assume that in this case, what they're doing is they want to run some UI-driven tests which bring up Chrome browser and then exercise Chrome browser either from Selenium or from some other driving tool, and they're trying to run the Chrome driver, but the path isn't set correctly. And so the usual ways to do that are set up an environment variable that's assigned on the agent to set the path, or do a with env in your pipeline to assure that the path is set there, and then invoke it in the pipeline.
I think I did a video. I'm going to share this here real quick.
Oh, good.
I did a video for this a while back, a year ago. How to configure Selenium using Jenkins. I think if I look at this, ad starts playing in my head. There was of course there's a lot. Show more, that's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to remember if I did.
Yeah, review the Selenium WebDriver documentation, and so
Yeah.
refactor the Chrome test job so that looks like you've got it in there.
It might be in this one, Matt. So just go out onto CloudBees TV, go up into the search, far right hand, you'll see a little search, and just search for Chrome. That's what I just did to try to find it. Or search for Selenium now that we know that's Selenium. By the way, since I'm on this video, and I wasn't thinking about this before now, you'll notice if you're looking out on CloudBees TV, for any videos that are about Jenkins, you'll see need help with your Jenkins questions. And we've gone back in and added in this link over to the community. So you can go directly into the right place to go ask your questions. So you don't have to, because sometimes you go out to the community, it's like, okay, where should I ask my question? I've done that before. It's like, oh, this is where I need to go. Now we're giving you that link, just go here. And I'll drop you in the right place. So Amit, hopefully that helps on that. Because I remember going through that same problem. I think I just had to get the pathing right on the agent so the controller was aware of how to get it right. Next one up from Sebastian. Do the upgrade notes mention anywhere what is the matching remoting version?
They don't, and that's actually intentional, because if you look, Sebastian, you could check in the Jenkins Weekly and see how it does it there. There's a command now that's issued that's shown when you define a new agent. It will give you the instructions to download that agent and start it. And it's important that the first step is download the agent from the controller. When you download the agent jar file from the controller, you get the current version of remoting inside of it. So the crucial thing there is, okay, each time when I start my agent, it's good if I download the remoting.jar file or download the agent.jar file and use the one I just downloaded.
Okay. Hopefully that answers the question. I think it covered it. Is there a timeline to update to Groovy 3?
That's a good question, and there definitely is not, because there are multiple steps for us to get to Groovy 3, and we've got those actually identified in multiple epics in our Jira system. We really have to go from Groovy 2.4 to Groovy 2.5, and I think there's even another hop from 2.5 to another 2.x before we get to 3. And each of those has security ramifications because continuation passing style, as used in the Jenkins pipeline, has to do specific limitations on what you can and cannot do with Groovy. And so I expect it will be a long time and a multi-month effort each time we do it to switch from the current Groovy 2.4 even up to 2.5 and then to later eventually to 3.
It's going to be a while.
It is. It will be. That's a big one.
This is pretty good. I thought you should only install recommended plugins. You should.
Hey, now wait a sec. I have plugins that I love. I don't know what Sebastian's saying. Markdown formatter and platform labeler. I cannot tell you how much I love my little. Yeah, right. Fair enough, Sebastian. Good point.
However, for some people it could be. This goes back to the sensitivity on system information.
Right.
I could buy that, right? I mean, it's what it is.
Right. Sebastian's point, I think, isn't that echoing the same point you made, Darren, that many of the things in the system info panel are actually not sensitive, right? Really, just truly, they're not.
Yeah. But I'd rather... Yeah.
It's right.
It's first pass, and
correct.
If you don't like it, open the Jira.
Right. That's the other, is there certainly...
With a proposal.
Well, and the proposal could be, hey, I want the ability to, let's put the ability into core to declare which system information is known not to be sensitive and therefore can always be shown. Because then it's, in this list, here are things that are not sensitive.
Right. Amit, you are quite welcome. There's a bug on the LDAP test button. Have you heard about this one, Mark?
I have, and unfortunately I can confirm it is not fixed. So there's ongoing discussion about that particular bug, and the discussion back and forth is still has not resolved it.
Okay. Sorry. Wish we had a better answer than that. And Sebastian, one more time. Downloading an agent from controller does not work with Kubernetes container inbound agents. Correct. Because...
Right.
Because Kubernetes. Because you should just be using the inbound agent container, right?
Right, but that then means you now are responsible, and it's a valid point. You're now responsible to upgrade to newer versions of the inbound container. Yep. And that's a fair point.
Yeah. Anything else? Oh, we said we were going to talk about one more thing. If you got a couple more questions, we do have a couple minutes. If you have any other questions, we can talk about it. We're going to talk about, where am I at? I am getting ready to show the screen again one more time. The one thing about the CD community, do we have a post on that? Let's click on vote. Oh,
we do.
It's a Google Doc. Okay. So you just go to the Google Doc, and then you can vote for people. Here, let's zoom in just a little bit so it's easier to see. So there's a handful of different, actually 3. Most valuable Jenkins contributor,
Right.
Jenkins security MVP, and most valuable Jenkins advocate.
Right.
They will be announced at CDCon. Mark, are you going to CDCon?
I hope to.
Good. If anybody else goes, be sure to look up Mark.
Right.
3. So we got Jan, Alexander, Damien, our Jenkins advocates, and security. So you can go in, vote for all of them right here. Well, you can't vote for all of them, but you can vote for one per category.
Right. And we encourage you to vote. One of the concerns we've had in the past is that we wanted to ensure that more people express their opinions there. Really, the community awards matter to us, and we're very grateful to the Continuous Delivery Foundation for having the concept of these community awards. It's good.
And for GSOC being accepted in, it's always a great thing to hear. The people are meeting with JMM, Jean-Marc, and other people for the mentors. When does it all start up? Stop sliding.
So what we've got is right now we're in the phase where we're preparing for the opening of Google accepting applications from contributors, from students or other first-time contributors. And that happens, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. So right now what's happening is these potential contributors are preparing their ideas, submitting them to us for review. We review them. We give comments. We say, hey, I think your plan is weak here. Oh, this looks good. Did you consider this? All sorts of things to help them be ready to do a good project idea, a good project plan. They submit that plan to Google, and once it's submitted to Google, then it comes back to the organization team at Jenkins, where we review them, we rank them, we prioritize them, we match them with our own mentors, and decide which projects we will propose back to Google as part of the Jenkins Google Summer of Code effort. And we're looking very good. We're really, really pleased with the number of applicants. We're pleased with the project ideas that we've got because they're real positive impacts to Jenkins.
It's all getting started one more time. 7th year.
It
Very
is.
cool. I think we've covered everything that we needed to cover today. For people that live in the U.S., it's the most wonderful time of year. Daylight saving time starts on Sunday. But not anywhere else in the world for 2 weeks.
Actually, I have a plea. Mark Waite's personal plea, and I live not far from the atomic clocks at the University of Colorado, at the Colorado facility that hosts the cesium beam clocks. I love time. Please lobby your elected representative to stop meddling with clocks. I'm done with it. Really, I do not need to change my clocks every 6 months. I don't. Okay,
Well, it's not every 6 months. It's every 9, then 3.
Right. However,
let's not be political today.
Which is even worse, right? Which is even worse because it's even less predictable.
Oh dear. And I think we have to do this one more time. We have to do this one more time. I think this is how we end it today. To the people at Firefly, thanks for going through and generating all this. If you're just now joining, go back to the top. You can just search for Firefly and DevOps humans. I think that will probably find this page that has numerous. But I wonder if we could get this approved. Probably not, because it's AI generated and not human touched. So, but anyway.
I don't know why we couldn't get it approved. It looks great.
It's AI stuff though, so it's not. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. So everybody, we will be back in 4 weeks. April 9th, I think. I was looking at the math the other day. This is where it gets hard again because no, it's April 8th because February and March are always wonderful when there's only 28 days in March or February. There's no
Right.
28 days in March.
Right.
And
We'll actually back April 6th.
is it six? Well, do we release on the? That's right. It's 6th.
Right.
I knew it had a circle on the bottom. I just couldn't remember if it was an 8 or a 6.
Right. Okay.
And it's no Sebastian. No.
It's Darren with a mustache. Ooh, oh, Sebastian, I will remember that for a very long time. That is an excellent way to say it. Darren with a mustache. I like that.
It's not. Charlie, you're quite welcome. And again, we'll be back in 4 weeks, and with a .2 that should be pretty quiet. That's always our hope. And if it is .2 quiet, we might have something else to talk about. So that's it. So thanks everybody for joining us live. If you're watching the replay, do the YouTube things, give us a thumbs up, do whatever it is that YouTube cares about. And we will talk to you again in 4 weeks. Thanks everybody.